All right, hey, my name is Brian Ford, and I own Building Futures Marketing. And one of the Facebook groups that we're in, someone asked what all we use for local Dominator for outside of just looking at the ranking maps. And I was kind of in a hurry, not paying attention, so I made an answer, but it's kind of jumbled up all together. Maybe it didn't make very much sense. So I've been meaning to record this to show to a few people anyway, so I might as well. I figured I'd record it just to give some better ideas, the context is what I was saying and how it might be useful. And maybe I'm just a nerd and maybe it's not useful to other people, but here goes. Okay, so you go to local Dominator. I've been using it since right before, well, I mean, since right after it came, a little after it came out. I've got two other ones that I use. I use local Falcon and White Spark as well. I like them for all different reasons. I like this. I probably use this one the most just because they're always innovating and adding new things like the citations. I'm excited to play around with that one. I just saw that pop up today, so that's great. Okay, so here's what I do. I just got a client that I just started working with in Bakersfield, California, the restoration company. So what I'm gonna do in this situation is I've got the map and I could go through and look, you guys have seen, you guys know how to use local Dominator if you're in the group that we were looking at. So what I like to do is I'll go and I'll export the CSV file, and I'm going to go ahead and save this. And so I'm going to take this information and sorry, I already had it up. I'm going to copy it. I tried to record it a few times and I kept on getting interrupted. So I'm going to go and copy all this information and I'm going to go put it in a spreadsheet over here. Yeah, I know how to use spreadsheets. Thanks. Cool story. All right. And I don't use all this information. Sometimes there's more information that I like to use. Local Dominator generally has most of the information I look for. Sometimes Local Falcon has more information than local Dominator does, and I'll pull it out for, but this usually most of what I'm looking for is in local Dominator. And like I said, I use that more than any other one, and it's not even close. Just because it's easy to use. And so I'm going to go and get rid of all of this information. I don't care about it right now. There's some other things that I use it for, but not at this point. And then I'm going to get rid of all of these because I don't really care about those. Rank I used to keep, but I can just go back to the ranking maps and look at them, and that tells me usually what I need to know. And so what I've got left are the primary categories, secondary categories, the place ID, the address, name of the business, and the website URL. Now, when I'm doing prospecting, that's one of the reasons that I do like Local Falcon a little more, because they actually include the phone numbers in there. But really, like, it's not that, like, you just click on the where'd it go? Huh, I thought it had the thing in here. Okay, never mind. Okay, so anyway, ignore what I just said. So I have the addresses here. You want to get rid of these because it shows all of them on all the points that you had gotten a report for. We don't need that because we don't need repeat businesses. So what we're going to do right here is, this is already done because I did it before. You want to freeze the first row. So you've got that, and then you're going to go over to data cleanup. You want to remove duplicates. You want to make sure that all of these are checked off. You want to unselect them all. All you want is a place ID in this case. So we're going to do C. You're going to mark that as there's a header row. Then you're going to remove duplicates. You're going to say, okay, so there's 31 businesses remaining. Okay. Now what I do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create, I'm a Google Maps whore, a custom Google Maps whore. If you know anything about me, I have a lot of them. Sometimes I just do them just to test things out. I used to run a dry cleaner out here in St. Anne Valley. Now, granted, there's hardly any competition out here. I just do it to test things. And I actually got some of my custom Google Maps to rank in the top 3 for dry cleaners in St. Anne Valley. That was a long time ago. Things have changed. But what I'm saying is, like, you can get really creative and you can do all kinds of cool stuff with these. Sometimes I make directions for places that we're going camping. Sometimes most of it's for work stuff like this. You can do the circle things. There's some programs out there that can make those for you, and you can get those on embed, and that's interesting. There's a debate as to how useful that is or isn't. A lot of times I do it anyway because it's fast and easy, and like then I can't say that I didn't do it anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here into my maps. I'm going to create a new map. All right, so got this information. I'm going to title it Bakersfield Restoration Companies. And then I'm going to import, but I'm going to import. Oh, I got to title this spreadsheet. Bakersfield Restoration. It doesn't have to be the same name. I just do that so it's easy to find later. So I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to go here, go to Google Drive. And then I go to type that. It's going to bring up the spreadsheet that I'm looking for. And then it's going to ask me how I want to figure out where to place these. So I'm just going to click the address. Now, if you looked at the spreadsheet, you'll see some of these didn't have addresses because they're service area based businesses. They're not going to show up on here. I'll show you where they are on the data map. So you can continue from here. How do you label them with the business? And so what it's basically going to do is going to show me all the Google business profiles that we're ranking. Where are they located? So I do this for a few different reasons. Number one, I want to see what the competition looks like. So for example, if Mesa had this few restoration companies, I'd be jumping up and down because it would be easy. Mesa, Arizona has almost 100 restoration companies just in Mesa, Gilbert, Chandler, like close area. And then they've got a bunch of fake listings out on the east side of the valley, but that's a different story. So you want to do this partially because you want to see, it helps give you an idea of what the actual physical competition looks like for your client. So I'm going to go, in this case, what I'll do is I'll go and I'll open the table, and the table is basically, it's the spreadsheet. I'm going to add a column after, and this one is going to be, it's going to be TOS. There's a reason I use TOS violation, because I'm going to go through and look to find out which of these listings are terms of service violations and which of them are not. Now, some background, I'm really hawkish on terms of service violations, partially because I'm a Grow with Google partner. I do the workshops for them. I teach the terms of service, so I know them very well, probably more than 98% of the marketing people out there. But it's just because most people don't use them, I have to know them because people ask questions about them in the workshops that I do. But because of that, I know exactly what the terms of service are. I know who's violating and who's not. And I'm very aggressive for my clients. So if I find someone who's violating them, I'm going to report them and try to get it removed, because then I don't have to worry about outranking them. Now they can always come back, and I'll show you what I look for and what a terms of service violation and what one isn't. And that actually may be useful because you may have some clients who may have had a listing suspended and they don't know why. So these are some things to look for, so that this can be useful for that information as well. So I'm going to go first to, I'm going to find my client for restoration services, and I'm just going to put client. Well, sometimes you have to click twice, and I like uppercase letter. That's just a me thing. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be able to change the styles of the pins. I want to make it easy to see based off of whether they're a violation or not. Now this one's not going to be yes or no. It's my client. I like green. So I'm going to change this to green because it's my favorite color. And green means go. Okay. So now I know where it's easy to see where they are at. Right. And so I'm going to go through and look at each one of these. And it is a bit tedious, but like, it's my client. So I'm going to spend some time doing some stuff. Some of them I already know in terms of service violations, so I may go through it. Like And some of them, I know in terms of service, their terms of their listing is a terms of service violation, even though normally you wouldn't know from the outset, just because I know the companies and I know they're shady. Anyway, so the main things that I look at with the terms of service violation. Hold on one second, I gotta pause this. Okay, I'm back. So the first thing that I look for is the business located in a residential address. Now, luckily, there's only 31 places and only 31 places that I have to check. Sometimes you have a lot more than that, especially depending upon how big of an area you're looking at. So it doesn't hurt to go through all of them, but it's easy because you can see which ones you've gone through and which ones you haven't. So for example, if I go here, Golden Empire Construction, in this case, I'm going to change the base map to see what this, and that's a house. Terms of service violation. Now the terms of service violation is it is a residential location. I just type in residential. Now it's going to get its own category. So when I zoom out, I'll be able to see what the terms of service violation is. So right here, I know the area. I grew up in Bakersfield, just I live somewhere else now, but I grew up in Bakersfield. So this is in residential location, but I knew that it's a strip mall. There's no restoration company there, right? But this is the name of the company. It's showing it. Where's the name? Did it not make it over? Is it all Bakersfield? That sounds weird. Okay, so there's some things that you can look at and just tell. Like if you've been a marketer for very long, you know. So like, just looking at this, there's no website. It's called All Bakersfield. It's at a location that's not where a restoration company would be. If you know how zoning laws work, and again, if it's an industry that you're familiar with, you'll have a general idea of should there be that type of business there or should there not be, and that's a good tell. The problem is if it's not very obvious, it's even harder to get it removed, and it's hard to begin with anyway, just because Google's automated systems are notoriously bad, like really bad. So, but I'm going to go ahead and edit this, and I'm just going to put not here because I know the business isn't here and I don't like that color green. So we're going to change that to a red. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Because it stands out. And when I'm done with this, I'm going to take it off this base map just because it's easier to see on the other one. I just want to, it makes it easier to see if it's a residential location or not. So you can go here. This again is a residential. So we're just going to go through and mark these, right? Okay. Now, I'm going to put it on pause. I'm going to go through. Well, I'll show you. Let's see if there's any other ones that are weird places. So this one is one of those ones where it could be. It's the name of the company is Rainbow International. It's hard to tell whether it's there or not. There's an auto parts, but usually the bigger brands, usually, not always, they usually have physical location because especially if it's a franchise, they're required to have a physical location. And so if you already have one, unless you're trying to rank in a different area, which a lot of times is also against the franchise guidelines for a lot of the bigger places, it's probably gonna be legit. So I'm not gonna mark this. I'll just do I still want to see that I looked at it though. And so I'm going to edit it and I'm just going to put no. And we don't want that to get too close to the brown. So we're going to mark that as we'll do orange. Nope, yellow. Yellow's good because we don't really want to focus on those. Okay. So, so this one, it's a builder. This one looks like it's probably fine. Again, it's hard to tell. It looks like it may fit the bill. It may not, but it's close enough to where unless you live in the area, then you can't really it's hard to dispute. I'm like, if you can drive there, and I do that locally. If you can drive there and see it's not there, I'm going to take pictures and I'm going to submit a business redressal form, and I'll show how I do that later. Okay, so this one, alert disaster, is probably legit. Yeah, it looks like it's good. Although it's weird because it's right here in the middle. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll take this. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry, I keep getting interrupted. Okay, so with this one, sometimes, like I said, this one looks like it could be, but like, why is it not at this physical address? And it may have just been because of how the address is pulled. Sometimes I'll go over here, and I again, I grew up there, so I have friends in Bakersfield. So if I want to really get something checked out, I'll probably send someone over there and say, "Hey, does this look legit to you?" And they like me, so they'll tell me. So what I can do is I can come here, and a lot of times what I'm looking for to see if they have one of these 3D, the street view maps all the way across, and they don't, so it's a little harder to see. But it looks like it's industrial. It looks like it's legit. It's probably okay. And unless it's something that raises a flag, it's probably one of those where you'd never want to report an actual real company unless they're who's in the place that has a legitimate Google business profile, because that's just kind of crappy. You don't want to do that. So if it looks like it could be and it closes on the line, I'm just gonna mark it there. So then we're going to scan out, and I'm going to pause this. If I see something that stands out, then I'll come back on and I'll show you. But you don't want to have to watch me go through the whole process. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, that took a bit and I got distracted. Okay, so you can see now we've got a colorful map. Now that I'm done here, so one of the things as you wind down, especially if you have a lot of people, businesses you're going through, and they're packed within a small area, you may lose track of how many you have left and how many you don't. Easy way to find that out is you just go to no value, because you haven't checked them out yet, and it'll highlight the ones. So if you have 6, I just know 5 of them don't have address or service area based listings, so they're not going to show up on here. So the 6, it's going to highlight that. If there were 3 or 4 of them, it would highlight all of them so you can see where they're at. So this is an interesting one. There's a reason that I left this one. I'm going to show a few of them. This is one where it might be there and it might not. So they've got a construction company, they've got a weed company. Technically, it's against terms of service it's a terms of service violation to have 2 businesses at the same address. But it's probably a legitimate business in this case. Unless they're really hurting my rankings, I'm probably just going to leave it alone, because it looks like they're out in the middle of nowhere. It's probably some guy's smaller business. They own a restoration company and a construction company. Probably small. I'm probably just going to leave it alone and let him do what he needs to do. But technically, you could look at these. You could send someone out there. If they don't have signage, it's a terms of service violation. But for someone like this, I'm probably just going to let it go. So that's why I left this one to market. And you can use your own judgment as to how much effort you want to put into this. And like I said, if he's not outranking my guy where I want to outrank anyway, or keeping him out of the top 3, then I'm just probably going to leave it alone, because they do take time to report. James, he's in our group, but he could probably tell you that he does this. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to change the base map just so it's easier to see everything, and you can see kind of where things are at. So I get to take chance to look and see what his competition is. Now, a lot of the competition right around him is they're legitimate businesses, right? A lot of these where I'm trying to rank are not. So that tells me, oh, well, if I want to rank out here, one of the easiest things I can do is start reporting these. Now, as I mentioned before, if you know Google's automated system, maybe I mentioned this in, I don't know if I did in this video or one that I was trying to record, their automated systems are notoriously bad. They're horrible. So you can go and report something that is an obvious terms of service violation, and they come back and say they can't verify it. Well, it's at a house. How do you not verify that? But it's Google. So there's, and again, so you have to look at it and determine, are they even outranking your client? If they are, then you go after them. If they aren't, sorry, I got a phone call. Probably spam. Then you determine as to who you're going to go for, but it gives you an idea of what the competition is. So here's, let me see, where's the Surf Pro? This is one that I wanted to point out. So I mentioned before that most of them, if they're franchise, they're probably legitimate most of the time, not all the time. And I happen to know these guys. I won't say anything bad about people. But let's just say I know who they are, and I am going to report this one. because I know who they are. And it's an obvious terms of service violation. It's probably at a UPS store. I haven't looked in here to see, but anytime when you have like a Albertsons or a grocery store with a bunch of stuff, it's probably some type of post office thing where they probably have had it for a while and they did the postcard thing, which you can't do anymore. I'm going to go and report that. Now they can always get it back as a service area based listing, but that's okay. It should be a service area based listing because this specific franchise does not have an office in Bakersfield. I happen to know that. So we're not trying to like screw businesses over. We're trying to put everything on a fair playing field. If you put the effort in to have a physical location, you should be benefit from that. If you're trying to game the system, and you're taking a gamble. This is the gamble that you're taking. So there's a couple that I marked not sure, and it's the kind of thing where you can look at this, and if you go, they might be there and they might not. In this case, the map that I looked at, and I'll go and just copy the address, go into Google. Actually, I'll show you. And I go into Google Maps. This is the one before I go to the other one. So I had one that was listed as being at 2012 address, but this doesn't really scream that a restoration company would be here. It's again one of those things. It doesn't look right. And if you look at the rest of the listing, it doesn't look right. And it's keyword stuffed. I'll actually bring that up because let me do this and I'll come back to that one because that one is important. So this one right here, it looks like it is like at least one time it was a home furnishing place. It might still be. This is from 2002 though. A lot changes over the years. So could a restoration company be there? Definitely. Are they there? I don't know. Because if you look at some of the other, they don't have a website. Why would you not have a website if you're a legitimate water damage company? If you're doing anything, you should be making enough money to where even you should have a basic website. Right. So that's kind of a clue. The fact that it's all restoration Bakersfield, that's kind of a weird, like this kind of screams like it's a scam listing or something that someone's using to get leads. A lot of times I'll go and I'll try to make a phone call, and especially in water damage, there's so much of it. You can listen to whoever answers the phone. Usually it's an AI or something like that. You can tell right away that it's a lead generation. And obviously I'm going to report that. But it's one of those things where if you don't know that, and again, if you have someone in the area, have them drive by and take a picture. Again, look at it. If they're not outranking your customers, don't waste your time on it. But you can keep an eye on it. So if something happens and they do start to outrank them, you've got ammunition to go after them, right? And so, so those are the main things. So again, I want to look and I want to see kind of what the competition is. The other thing that I'll do is I'll go through and I'll look and see out here because I want to outrank these guys. I'll look and see how many reviews they have. I will look and see what their websites look like, how many backlinks they have. I'll look at their Google business profiles. The further that I get out, and see kind of what they're doing to optimize it and what information they're adding into it. Because, give Google what Google says it wants, right? But the other thing it does is when I'm talking with my client and he mentions, oh yeah, these guys, you know exactly who you're talking about. You're basically becoming an expert in the area for that industry, and you're going to carry a lot of weight, especially if you're doing this before you contact somebody. Like if you're doing this for lead generation and you're going through, and again, a lot of times I'll look at this and I'll look at them like, who do I want to work with here and who do I not want to work with? That's actually how I picked up this client. I looked at these and I knew the area again relatively well because I grew up there. But I was looking at these and I'm like, well, I only want to work with one of the businesses in yellow, just because I don't want to go through the effort of trying if it gets suspended, because sometimes they just get suspended when their terms of service violation automatically or someone reports it. I don't want to go through the hassle of having to try to deal with that. So usually I'm going to go after someone who's legitimate, and then I'm going to go through and I'm going to look and see who has the most to gain by what I have to offer. If they're ranking number 1 and number 2 and number 3 everywhere anyway, then you don't want to do it. But if they're only doing it ranking in the top 3 in a specific area, or if they're not at all and they're maybe 4 to 10, you can get an idea and look at them like they're in a position to where I can easily go after this area. It's something good to have in the back pocket. But then when they're talking about your competitors, you can either say, yeah, I know, I looked them up, whatever, or you can tell them, you may think that's your competitor, but who your real competitor online is this person. But and it just carries a lot of weight because it looks like you know exactly what you're talking about. You know more about their industry than they do. They trust you a lot more because you've done your homework, and it's not like you're blind calling them. So this is another good thing to use just to gain authority in the area for that industry. If you live in the area and you're working in that industry, you better know everything, because like they're going to question you on it, and they're going to say, well, if you live in the area and you don't know these, what makes you think you can outrank all these other people? So like this is really good. Wow, this is a long video, longer than I expected. Anyway, so this is part of what I use it for. I'm using it for research. I'm using it to go out and get information. Do I dive into most of this stuff more than most people do? I do, but I use it for my business. Like this is part of my business. The research is part of what I do. I want to know who I'm targeting, who I'm going after, right? So as far as like reporting people, that's right, I was going to show you different ones. Not a real business. No. What's the name right here? Okay, so you can look here. This is a big highlight that something's wrong. Most people know, like this isn't a secret. You can keyword stuff. Yeah, I report keyword stuffing all the time. If I go in and look at the website and I'm like, yeah, that's not their real name, I'm going to report it. This obviously, like this is a no-brainer, right? So this is one of the first things that I'm going to go after. So you want to look at keyword stuffing and the name. You want to look at the type of address that they're at. Is someone there? Is someone not there? Are they outranking your clients? How much are you going to benefit from getting them removed? Again, if they just have a listing up there, sometimes it just pulls stuff in there and just random stuff pops up, or someone intends to do something, so they get something listed and they never do anything with it. If it's not outranking anybody, don't waste your time with it. But if it is, then go for it. So I think that was the main thing. Those were the main things that I was going to record this about. The other thing is when something pops up that you don't expect, you know where everyone's at, like, because you're looking at this and you've gone through. So when someone new comes into the area, you're going to recognize it and know it, like, because if you're working with the person, hopefully you're pulling reports at least once or twice a month. And so if something pops up that you don't recognize, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And so you'll be able to figure out, well, why is this person ranking here now? They weren't here before. What's going on? Is someone moved into the area? Is someone putting a lot of effort in? So this is in Bakersfield. Is someone from Delano or Shafter or McFarland putting a lot of effort into ranking down here? In those areas, probably not, if you know the areas. But it gives you something to, you know what's going on. Right. And if it's your client and you care about your client and you're working with your client and you want to do the best things for your client, you want to know who all of their competitors are and kind of what you're working with. So anyway, that's why I use it. One of the things that I do with it. So anyway, I'm going to leave that here. Let me go. I'm going to pause this for a second, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, I think I got everything. If anybody has any questions, or if you want me to look into it or want me to look into something further, I enjoy all this stuff because I'm a nerd. I like spreadsheets. I like maps. I like to see where things are at, and I like to analyze them. One thing about reporting Google Business Profiles. So how do I go about and do it? James looks like he's talking the thing. James is really good at this. If he wants to promote his business for this, I actually pay him to do this for some of my clients. But I'm gonna let him take up that if he wants to. I don't know if he's gonna listen to this or not. But we go back and forth about stuff all the time. And so I'll let him go over that. So, but if, let's say I want to report someone, right? So I'm going to go to pull up, let me see which one, where's one that I really want to get rid of? We're going to go after the Serve Pro. Okay. Cause yeah, I've got a beef to grind with this one. It's a long story. Trust me. No. So I'm going to go here. And that's why with this, one of the other ones, the other things that I'm going to go here, type this in. And if you have the map pulled up, the ranking map, you can just click on it. It'll take you right there. And then I'm going to go Serve Pro. Going to pull it up for me. It's right here. I'm going to suggest an edit. Now, there's a couple things you can do with this. You can, technically, it doesn't exist here. technically is not open to the public. If it's a residential address, it's not going to be open to the public. So either one of those applies. You could put move to a new location because they're not there. I haven't tried that. Or permanently closed. From what I understand, people that I've talked to who do this more often than I do, permanently closed tends to stick a lot more. And you're going to probably have to do it 2 or 3 times anyway, because like I said, they'll come back and say, oh, well, we couldn't verify this. Sorry, I'm sorry you're not able to go and tell and see that there's obviously not a restoration company here, but it's an automated system. And there's a way that you can go and get it, submit a business redressal form and get it actually in front of people, or you can go to forums and try to get it done that way. So I'm going to put permanently closed in this situation. But usually it's a mix of permanently closed, not here, or if it's residential, not open to the public. And then I'm just going to mark that there. Then I'm going to go done. And then for the business redressal form, let me see if I can get that. Just to show you kind of what it looks like. Where'd it go? I've got too many. Here we go. Okay. I'm gonna bring this in. So I'll put a link to this in the video too. I'm gonna put this on YouTube just because I don't know where else to put it. Business redressal form. You're gonna go through, put your information, your contact information, the name of the entity or organization that's getting impacted. In this case, it's the name of the business actually is the terms of service violation, not your client. So the name of the business that is committing the terms of service violation, you're going to collect one. This business doesn't exist. You're going to put the URL, and the URL for that would be, in this case, it would be this URL right here. Then any pictures, and this is where it comes into where if you have someone there, maybe you're not in the area, but you have someone there who can go by and take pictures. This would be good to look up. Sometimes I'll take screenshots from the actual Google Maps and I'll upload them as a file. And then you want to tell them, be very specific as to why they should take it off. Don't make them guess. Hey, this is a residence. Hey, this is a UPS store. That there's no business, restoration business here. It's not licensed for industrial, whatever the case may be. And so, and then what I'll do a lot of time is I'll screenshot this whole thing. I use Austin Screenshot Recorder, just because it's easy. And then I'll just do a full page save, just so I've got it on my record. So when I know I go to do it again, I know what date that I put them in. But I'm not actually doing it, so I'm not going to do that. And then you click submit. And then what you can do is on your maps, you want to check and see what the status of it is. You go to saved. Oh, nope. Sorry. You go to your contributions. And then you go to edits and you'll be able to see you're not accepted, which is weird because it's obviously not there. And all of these are not accepted. And I'll use different accounts to do it. But you always want to do it the automated way before you go and submit a redressal form, and maybe once or twice. And I've got one account that it's my Grow with Google account. I'm usually more successful with that one. This one I just use to play around with. So you can see a lot of the time they're not accepted. Sometimes I get them through. But it happens a lot. Don't get frustrated. This is kind of the norm. So it just kind of is what it is. So, anyway, so that's how you would go about reporting it, as an edit in the maps and through the business redressal form. So, if you have any questions, let me know. James, if you're watching this, you want to go there and tell people what you do. It's a good service, and saves me a lot of time. So anyway, thanks. Let me know if you have any questions.